My name is Emily Carter, and for 10 years I thought I knew what love meant. I thought marriage was built on trust, sacrifice, and loyalty. I thought my husband, Daniel, was the kind of man who would rather die than hurt me. I was wrong. The night everything changed started out like any other. I was driving home from my mother's house, humming along to the radio, thinking about dinner plans with Daniel. He said he'd be working late, and I believed him, just like I always did. My younger sister, Lily, had been staying with us for a few weeks. She said she needed a break from her life in Chicago, and since we were close, I welcomed her with open arms. Lily had always been the wild one in the family, beautiful, unpredictable, the kind of woman who drew attention without even trying. I used to admire her confidence. I had no idea that confidence would be the knife she'd one day use to stab me in the back. As I drove home, something felt off. It was subtle, like a whisper in the back of my mind. I brushed it off at first, telling myself I was overthinking again. But that uneasy feeling only grew stronger when I pulled into the driveway and saw Daniel's car parked outside. He wasn't supposed to be home. Maybe he got home early. Maybe he wanted to surprise me. That's what I wanted to believe. I walked into the house quietly, expecting to see him on the couch, maybe watching TV, maybe half asleep like he usually was after a long shift. But the house was dark, too quiet, still. Daniel? I called out softly. No response. Lily? I tried again. Silence. I felt my heart press against my ribs. That strange whisper in my mind was no longer subtle. It was screaming. My hands shook as I placed my purse on the counter. That's when I noticed something. A trail. Not dirt. Not clothes. But a trail of rose petals. Red. Scattered across the living room carpet like a path leading somewhere I wasn't supposed to go. I stood frozen. Rose petals weren't my thing. Daniel knew that. I hated the mess they made. Lily, on the other hand, loved them. She used to keep fake ones in her apartment, claiming they made her feel like every day was Valentine's Day. My throat tightened. Stop it, Emily. You're being paranoid, I whispered to myself. But the whisper inside me only grew louder. Follow it. So I did. Each step felt heavier than the last. I walked down the hallway, the petals continuing ahead of me like a cruel invitation. They led straight to the guest room, Lily's room. The door was cracked open. Light spilled out from inside. And then I heard it. Soft giggling. A woman's laugh. Lily's laugh. A low murmur. A man's voice. Daniel's voice. My blood turned to ice. I wanted to run. I wanted to turn around, pretend nothing was happening, go back to the Emily who lived in blissful denial. But it was too late. The truth was right there waiting on the other side of the door. My breathing grew rapid and uneven. Tears gathered in my eyes, blurring my vision. I told myself I had misheard, that there was some explanation, that they were maybe talking, maybe watching a movie. Maybe. But then I heard my sister whisper, "Sure, Emily might come home early." Daniel replied with a low chuckle. "She never suspects anything, babe." Babe. He called her babe. The world around me shattered. My legs moved before my mind could catch up, and I pushed the door open so hard it slammed against the wall. What I saw is burned into my memory forever. Daniel and Lily, entangled, together, half naked. On the bed I had helped Lily make the day she arrived. For a moment, no one moved. Lily screamed. Daniel jumped, scrambling for the blanket. I stood there, numb, shaking, unable to speak. Emily, this isn't what it looks like." Daniel stammered. I let out a broken laugh. "Are you serious? This is exactly what it looks like." Lily's face went pale, her lips trembling. "Emily, I can explain." "No," I cut her off. "You can't explain this away." Daniel reached out a hand toward me. "Please listen. It was a mistake." I stepped back. "A mistake?" "With my sister." My voice cracked. The tears finally spilled over. I hated that I was crying in front of them. I hated that they could see how deeply they'd wounded me. But I couldn't stop. "You lied to me, Daniel," I whispered. "For how long?" He looked down at the floor. "That told me everything I needed to know." "How long?" I demanded louder. "3 months," he said quietly. 3 months. 90 days. Nearly 100 nights of betrayal. Lily sobbed into her hands. I didn't care. I took a shaky breath. "Get out." Daniel blinked. "Emily." I said G-E-T-O-U-T. This time, he moved. He grabbed his clothes, muttering apologies I didn't hear. Lily tried to approach me, but I held up my hand like a blade. "Don't you dare come near me." She froze. I didn't scream. I didn't throw anything. I didn't break down. I simply turned around and walked out of the room, leaving them to gather their shame. In the living room, the rose petals mocked me. I felt nauseous. I sank onto the couch, my hands covering my face as silent sobs tore through my chest. Everything I thought I knew about my marriage, about my family, was suddenly a lie. And in that moment, something inside me changed. The Emily who trusted too easily died right there, and someone new took her place, someone colder, sharper, stronger. Someone who wanted revenge. Because betrayal like that, it doesn't break you. It transforms you. And I would make sure they both regretted the day they ever crossed me. But my revenge would cost them more than they ever imagined. And it all started the moment I found the one thing Daniel thought he had hidden from me, the thing that changed everything, the secret he never wanted me to discover. And that secret was locked inside the one folder he thought I would never open. I didn't sleep that night. How could I? Every time I closed my eyes, I saw them, my husband and my sister, wrapped around each other like I never existed. The betrayal kept replaying in my head, over and over, until my chest felt like it was being crushed under its own heartbeat. By sunrise, I was numb, not calm, not healed, just numb, the kind of numbness that comes right before a storm. When Daniel came back downstairs early that morning, wearing the same clothes he had scrambled into the night before, he didn't even try to hide his shame. His eyes were swollen, like he had been crying. Good. Let him cry. Emily, can we talk? He whispered. No. My voice was steady, cold. Even I didn't recognize it. He swallowed hard. Please. I need you to hear me out. I made a mistake. I was stupid and weak and you slept with my sister for 3 months. I said flatly. That's not weakness, Daniel. That's commitment. He flinched like I had slapped him. I didn't care. I'll pack some things, he said. I'll go to a hotel. Take everything, I replied. Take your guilt, your lies, your cheap cologne she pretended to like. Take all of it out of my house. He stared at me for a long moment. Then he whispered, I'm sorry, Emily. I didn't respond. I didn't even blink. I just watched him walk out the door, the same door he had walked through 1,000 times as my husband. And now as a stranger. But I wasn't done. Not even close. While he cleared his things, I went into his home office, the place I rarely touched because he claimed it was too messy. I always respected his boundaries. Ironically, he never respected mine. I sat at his computer, my hands trembling slightly, not from fear, but from a cold determination. I didn't know what I expected to find. Maybe bank statements, maybe messages, maybe proof he had been spending money on Lily. Instead, I found something worse. There was a folder on his desktop labeled Work Documents. Do not open. I almost laughed. He might as well have put a flashing, open me sign on it. I clicked. Inside were dozens of files, contracts, financial statements, emails. But one file stood out. A PDF titled Settlement Agreement, Preliminary Draft. I frowned. Daniel wasn't involved in legal work. That was my field, not his. I opened it. And then I froze. It was an agreement. Concerning Daniel's business, something he always told me was doing fine. According to the document, the company was drowning in debt. He owed money to suppliers, investors, and even private lenders. How had he hidden this from me? I kept scrolling, and that's when I saw it. A section titled Contingency, Marital Assets. My heart dropped. The document linked my personal savings account, my inheritance from my grandmother, to HIS company as a potential backup should the primary settlement fail. He was trying to use my money, my inheritance, my future, all without telling me. I don't know how long I sat there staring at the screen. Rage built slowly inside me, rising like a tide until it almost swallowed me whole. The betrayal with Lily was emotional. This was financial. This was planned. This was premeditated. Daniel had been preparing to drag me down with him. Maybe he thought I'd never question anything. Maybe he thought he could keep lying until he fixed things. Or maybe, just maybe, he never cared how much damage he caused as long as he came out on top. I pushed away from the desk, my entire body shaking. It wasn't just cheating. It wasn't just betrayal. It was sabotage. And then, almost on cue, my phone buzzed. A message from Lily. Lily, Emily. I know you're angry. I'm so sorry. Can we talk? Please. Talk. I almost threw my phone across the room. I didn't reply. Instead, I closed Daniel's files, grabbed a USB drive and copied everything. Every document, every email, every trace of wrongdoing he thought he could hide. Then I stood up and did something I never thought I would do. I called my lawyer. Not to discuss divorce. Not yet. No, I had something much bigger in mind. While I waited for her to pick up, the front door opened quietly. I didn't turn. I didn't need to. Emily? Lily's voice trembled. My entire body stiffened. I turned slowly, my eyes locking onto hers. She looked fragile. Makeup smeared, hair messy, wrapped in one of her oversized sweaters like she wanted to disappear inside it. What? I wanted her to feel small. We need to talk, she whispered. No, I said. You need to talk. I just need to listen. She flinched. Tears filled her eyes. I never meant for this to happen. I swear. It just happened, Emily. One night he was upset about work, and I was comforting him, and I held up a finger. I didn't ask for excuses, but I didn't mean to hurt you, she cried. Then why did you keep doing it for 3 months? I snapped. Her face crumpled. I don't know. I was stupid and lonely, and I stepped closer until we were only inches apart. You slept with my husband. Don't pretend this was some emotional accident. You knew exactly what you were doing, Lily. You just never thought I'd find out. She sobbed harder. I'll move out. I'll disappear. I just. Please don't hate me. I stared at her, my sister, my blood, who had betrayed me in the deepest way imaginable. Lily, I said quietly, disappearing won't fix this. She looked up, confused. Then what will? A slow, cold smile spread across my face. You'll know soon enough, because I had a plan now. A plan that would take everything Daniel and Lily thought they could take from me, and make them pay 10 times over. I walked past her, grabbed my keys, and headed for the door. Emily, where are you going? She asked through trembling lips. I turned back just long enough to say, to do what you should have done from the beginning. She swallowed. What's that? I stepped outside and said, tell the truth. But she had no idea what truth I meant. And she had no idea how deep the consequences would cut. Because the next person I was going to see, the person who held the final piece of the puzzle, was the last person Daniel ever wanted me to talk to. And when he opened the door and saw me standing there, his face turned white, because he knew everything was about to explode. I drove across town with my heart pounding like a drum inside my chest. My fingers gripped the steering wheel so tightly that my knuckles turned white. The morning traffic blurred around me as my mind replayed everything: Daniel's lies, Lily's betrayal, the settlement document, the quiet tremble in my sister's voice, the cheap apologies, the shame they both suddenly wanted to wear like a shield. I wasn't interested in their shame. I was interested in the truth. Because if Daniel planned to drag me into his financial mess, using MY inheritance, I needed to know exactly how deep his pit went. And there was only one person who knew that better than anyone. Nathan Hale, Daniel's business partner. The man Daniel hated whenever things went wrong. The man he cursed during late-night phone calls. The man he accused of ruining everything. The man who, ironically, had always been kind to me. When I parked in front of Nathan's townhouse, I didn't hesitate. I marched straight to his door and knocked. Not politely, not gently, but with the full force of a woman who had nothing left to lose. A few seconds later, the door opened and Nathan appeared, tall, sharp-featured, with a calm expression that quickly dissolved into panic when he saw me. Emily? He said carefully. Hey, is everything okay? No, I said. Can I come in? He stepped aside instantly. The moment the door closed behind me, I turned to face him. I need you to tell me the truth. All of it. Nathan exhaled slowly and rubbed his jaw. I had a feeling this day would come. His voice was heavy, defeated. Start talking, I said. He motioned for me to sit, but I stayed standing. I didn't have the strength to pretend this was a casual conversation over morning coffee. Nathan sighed and shoved his hands into his pockets. Okay, what did Daniel tell you? That everything was fine, that the business was stable, that you were the reason for the stress. Nathan let out a humorless laugh. Of course he did. Is it true? I asked. Did you ruin the business? His eyes met mine, steady, unwavering. No. But I did warn him that if he kept going the way he was, we'd lose everything. My stomach tightened. What way was that? Reckless spending. Bad investments. Borrowing money from people he shouldn't have. Nathan paused. Daniel wasn't honest about anything, Emily. Not with you. Not with me. Not with anyone. I swallowed hard. How bad is it? Nathan didn't answer right away. Instead, he walked over to a drawer and pulled out a thick folder. He handed it to me. My fingers shook as I opened it. Page after page of losses, scrolling debts, contracts he never told me about, risks he took behind my back. And then my eyes landed on a number that made my throat close. $187,000. Money pulled from our joint credit line over the last year. Where did all of this go? I whispered. Nathan hesitated. Nathan, I said firmly. Tell me. He sighed. Some of it went to failed ventures, and some went to personal expenses. What kind of personal expenses? His silence was answer enough. I looked up slowly. Lily? Nathan nodded once. A burning coldness seeped into my bones. Daniel hadn't just cheated emotionally. He had spent nearly $200,000, money tied to MY credit, MY future, on my sister. Vacations, hotels, jewelry, transfers, bills, all while he lied to my face every night. I felt like I couldn't breathe. Nathan stepped closer, his voice gentle. Emily. I tried to confront him. I told him he was putting both your lives at risk. But he said you'd never find out. He said you loved him too much to ever question him. My jaw tightened. I did love him, I whispered, and he counted on that. Nathan hesitated before speaking again. There's something else. Of course there was. What? He opened the folder again and pulled out one last document. It was a letter, an email Daniel had drafted, but never sent. Subject line, Plan B, if she finds out. A chill shot down my spine. I read the first lines. If Emily discovers the affair or the financial issues, we need to move quickly. I'll convince her it was a mistake and push for joint asset restructuring. My fingers stiffened around the paper. If she refuses, we frame it as marital instability caused by her emotional issues. What? I whispered. Nathan spoke quietly. He was planning to gaslight you, make you look unstable so the financial fallout wouldn't fall on him. I wanted to scream, cry, break something, but I didn't. I just stood there, silent and shaking, while the truth sank in like poison spreading through my veins. Daniel didn't cheat because he was weak. He cheated because he didn't care. He lied because he didn't respect me. He tried to destroy my finances because he thought I'd never fight back. And Lily? Lily was part of it, whether she realized it or not. Nathan gently touched my arm. You didn't deserve any of this, Emily. I looked up at him, and for the first time, something inside me hardened completely. I know, I said. And then I felt it. A shift. Something dark, fierce, powerful. A part of me I never knew existed came alive. Because this wasn't about heartbreak anymore. It wasn't even about betrayal. This was war. I closed the folder with a quiet snap. Thank you, Nathan. What are you going to do? He asked. Everything, I said. I'm going to do everything Daniel never expected me to do. I turned toward the door, but Nathan called after me. Emily. Whatever you're planning, be careful. I paused just long enough to say, careful is how I got here. When I stepped outside, the cold air hit my face, but it didn't sting. It fueled me. And as I got into my car, my phone buzzed again, another message from Lily. But this one was different. Lily. Emily. I think Daniel told someone something. A man just came by asking questions. Please call me. My grip tightened on the steering wheel. A man? Asking questions? Who the hell was that? My heart began to race, not with fear, but with anticipation. Because this meant something else was happening behind the scenes. Something neither Daniel nor Lily had prepared for. And I had a feeling that whatever was coming next was going to blow everything wide open. And then I got the call that changed everything and made Daniel's betrayal look small compared to what was coming. The call came just as I was pulling into my driveway. The screen lit up with a number I didn't recognize, but something, instinct, dread, fate, made me answer it anyway. Hello? A male voice spoke on the other end. Smooth. Calm. Too calm. Is this Emily Carter? Yes, I said cautiously. Who's calling? A beat of silence. Then a name I never expected to hear. My name is Marcus Delano. My stomach dropped. Marcus Delano wasn't just anyone. He was one of the private lenders Nathan warned Daniel not to borrow from. A name that floated around business gossip like a ghost story. Clean suits, dirty money, and a reputation for debt collection that made grown men tremble. "Why are you calling me?" I asked carefully. Marcus exhaled through his nose, almost amused. "Because your husband listed you as a financial partner in one of his agreements." My blood ran cold. "That's impossible," I said. "I never signed anything." "Doesn't matter," he replied smoothly. "Your name is on the paperwork. You're tied to the debt. And Daniel seems unavailable at the moment." "Unavailable? Where the hell was he?" "What do you want from me?" I asked. Again, that calm, patient voice. "Cooperation. I'm sure you're as invested in solving this problem as I am." "Oh, if he only knew." Before I could respond, he added, "I tried reaching Daniel, but he's not picking up. So I stopped by your house." Your sister answered. My grip tightened. "You spoke to Lily?" "Yes," Marcus said lightly. "She looked nervous." "Good." "She should be," I muttered. He ignored the comment. "I gave her a message for Daniel. And now I'm giving you one too. You have 72 hours to resolve this before the agreement moves to the next stage." "And what does that mean?" I whispered. "Nothing you need to worry about if we come to an arrangement." The line went quiet for a moment. Then he spoke again, calm, cold, final. "Tell Daniel to call me. And Emily?" "Yes." "Don't make the mistake of protecting him. Men like your husband always expect their wives to shield them from consequences." The call ended. I sat there frozen, not with fear, but with clarity. Daniel's lies had brought a dangerous man right to my door. And now I was tied to debts I never agreed to, betrayed by both my husband and my sister, and staring down threats from someone who didn't bluff. But I wasn't going to be a shield anymore. I stepped out of the car and walked inside. Lily was pacing the living room, her hands shaking, her face pale. When she saw me, she rushed over. "Emily, oh my God, where were you?" "Some man came asking for Daniel and—" "I know," I cut in sharply. "He called me." She blinked. "And? What did he say?" "That Daniel owes money to people he shouldn't have. And now I'm involved because Daniel used my name." Her eyes widened with real shock. He dragged you into that." "Emily, I didn't know." "I don't care what you didn't know," I snapped. She recoiled like I had slapped her. "Good." "Where's Daniel now?" I demanded. Lily swallowed hard. He left. He said he needed to clear his head. He didn't say where he was going." Of course he didn't. Cowards never leave forwarding addresses. I walked past her and straight to the kitchen, grabbed a bottle of water, and tried to steady my breathing. Anger was burning through me so fiercely it almost hurt. "Emily," Lily whispered behind me. "Please, say something. Anything." I turned slowly. "Fine," I said. "I'll say this. I'm done protecting people who don't protect me." She flinched. "I'm going to fix this mess," I continued. "But after that, you and Daniel, you're both out of my life. Permanently." Tears spilled down her face. "Emily, no." My voice was sharp enough to cut glass. "Don't cry. Don't apologize. Don't pretend you didn't destroy me." She covered her mouth, sobbing silently. I didn't comfort her. Instead, I walked upstairs, went into Daniel's office, and pulled out the folder I copied from his files. I spread the documents across the desk and began sorting through every financial trail, every transaction he tried to hide. And then I found it. A routing number. An account under my sister's name. Payments. Transfers. Luxury purchases. Hotel reservations. Everything Daniel had bought for Lily was documented in a neat, disgusting digital trail. My hands trembled, not from heartbreak, but from rage. Lily had known exactly what she was doing. She hadn't fallen into an affair. She wasn't lonely. She wasn't confused. She was compensated, and Daniel had used my money to do it. A dark, vicious calm washed over me. Fine. If they wanted to play with my life, they were about to learn what real consequences looked like. I grabbed my laptop and began typing emails to my lawyer, to the bank, to the firm handling Daniel's settlement draft. I wasn't going to cry. I wasn't going to scream. I was going to dismantle Daniel's life piece by calculated piece. Starting with the business he was so desperate to save. But just as I was sending the final email, my phone buzzed again. It was a message from an unknown number. Unknown. "If you don't stop what you're doing, someone close to you will get hurt." I felt the world tilt. Another message came through immediately. Unknown. "Daniel made promises. If he can't pay, you will." I backed away from the desk, heart pounding, not with fear, but with fury. Because now this wasn't just betrayal. It wasn't just financial manipulation. It was a threat, a direct threat, and I wasn't backing down. My next move? Calling someone who hated Daniel almost as much as I did. Nathan. When he answered, I didn't waste time. They're threatening me, I said. I need help. There was a long pause. Then Nathan spoke, voice low and deadly serious. Emily, pack a bag. Don't stay in that house tonight. What? Why? Because the man Daniel owes money to doesn't issue warnings. If he threatened you, you're in danger. I gripped the phone. What do I do? I'll come get you, he said. But Emily. Yes. There's one more thing you need to know. Something Daniel hid even from Lily. My pulse quickened. What is it? Silence. A heavy, choking silence. Daniel wasn't just having an affair. He was planning something bigger. Something that involves both of you. My breath caught in my throat. What? I whispered. Nathan exhaled sharply. He was planning to disappear. Disappear? With who? And then it hit me. No. No, he wouldn't. He couldn't. But the truth was already forming in my mind like a blade. And it cut deep. Daniel wasn't planning to run alone. He was planning to take Lily with him and leave me behind to face everything. Nathan's words echoed in my mind like a lightning strike ripping the sky apart. Daniel was planning to disappear. With Lily. And leave me behind to deal with the wreckage. The betrayal wasn't accidental. It wasn't emotional. It wasn't even personal. It was strategic. He wanted a fresh start. A new life funded by MY inheritance, MY credit, and MY destruction. And Lily, my sister, agreed to it. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. Something inside me simply snapped into place. A new version of me emerged. One who didn't beg. One who didn't wait to be rescued. One who finished what others started. I grabbed a duffel bag, stuffed in essentials, and headed downstairs. Lily appeared at the bottom of the staircase, her eyes red and swollen. Emily, where are you going? I stared at her, emotionless. Away from here. Why? What's happening? I stepped closer until we were eye to eye. Daniel planned to run, I said quietly. And he planned to take you with him. Her face drained of color. No. No, he wouldn't. He would. I snapped. He already has the fake IDS, the new accounts, the travel arrangements. I found them in his files. She clutched the railing as if her legs were about to give out. Emily, I swear I didn't know. I don't care what you didn't know, I said coldly. Because ignorance doesn't make you innocent. Before she could respond, headlights flashed outside. Nathan. Stay here, I told Lily. For once in your life, just do as you're told. I walked out the front door and climbed into his car. He didn't even say hello. Did you pack what you need? Yes. He pulled away from the house and drove toward his condo across town. I stared out the window as the streetlights blurred past. I'm going to ruin him, I said quietly. Nathan exhaled. Daniel ruined himself. You're just holding up the mirror. At Nathan's condo, once we got inside, he locked the door behind us. I sank onto the couch, feeling the weight of everything pressing on my shoulders. Nathan sat across from me. We need to plan carefully. Daniel isn't just irresponsible, he's dangerous when cornered. I'm counting on it, I said. He raised an eyebrow. What are you planning? My revenge, I said simply. The kind that costs him everything. Nathan didn't interrupt, so I laid it out. I told him about the copied documents, the bank account trails, the debts, the affair timeline, the financial betrayals, all of it. And then I said the words that would change everything. I'm going to expose him. Legally. Publicly. Financially. Nathan leaned back. Emily. That will destroy him. I looked him dead in the eye. Good. Phase 1. Legal detonation. First, I sent everything I collected to my lawyer. Every file, every fraudulent signature, every financial trail. She called within minutes. Emily, she said, her voice sharp and alert. With this amount of evidence, we can not only block Daniel from touching your assets, we can initiate legal action against him for fraud. Do it, I said. Are you sure? This will escalate things. I'm sure. She didn't argue. Phase 2. Financial cutoff. Next, I logged into every shared account and froze them. Cancel cards. Lock credit lines. Revoke Daniel's access to anything with my name on it. The system notified me when he tried to log in. Unauthorized access attempt blocked. Odd. Let him choke on his own panic. Phase 3. The public blow. Nathan hesitated when I told him this step. Emily. Are you sure? Public exposure is irreversible.